Thank you, but every time I hear this song, I just think, I love you, Grandma.
Look at them donkey butt and them big old legs. I ain't too hard to beg. Ain't no shame in my game. I'ma break it down and beg like Jane.
We should pay for someone's grandma to sing that song now.
Please. Please.
That's so dumb.
Welcome to After Listen, the Music Reaction and Discovery Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Terrio.
And I'm Brennan Lee.
Today we're going to be talking about songs that have a special meaning to us on a personal level. One of the powers of music, just like smell, is the ability to transport you back to a specific memory or feeling. And these songs do that for us. They have like a special spot in our heart because of it. And we wanted to share those memories with you and feelings with you guys as well. But first, we have to begin with our necessary disclaimers. Number one, we respect everyone's opinion regardless of how wrong it may be. Number two, we respect everyone's memory or feeling that a song gives, regardless if you don't feel the same or not. Number three, some of the songs may have explicit lyrics and we may refer to them during the discussion or it may slip out in just casual conversation, so be warned. Number four, we're just talking about the music, not the artist's real life issues or what have you during that time or whatever. And number five, if you really want to hear the songs discussed in the podcast episode, check the show notes for the specific link to our YouTube playlist, and you can listen to the songs there. It may be beneficial for you to listen to the songs first, but, we want to keep you here, so you can listen to the episode, pause, and go listen to the playlist, and then come back, or listen to the episode first, and then, listen to the music afterwards. It's your call.
Yeah, either way, you got context, additional context, When you listen to the music first and then us, you have the context of the music. If you listen to us and then the music, you have the context of what we're talking about today. So,
absolutely. All right. So let's get into it. Did you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I guess I can go first. I don't really mind.
Okay.
Do we just want to start at the top and just kind of bounce back and forth?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Well, my very first song is actually the song that kind of spawned this topic discussion.
Mm-hmm.
So the song is "When the Children Cry" by White Lion. Came out in 1987 off the album Pride. Okay. If you're not familiar with White Lion, they're a Danish-American glam rock band from the 80s, early 90s. And I'm sure probably a lot of people are familiar, at least somewhat, with the song because it's still very much like in my opinion, this is like one of the songs you might hear like in the grocery store at like a CVS or Walgreens or something, right? It just comes on. So why I chose this song is, I think you know this, but if you don't, you're also going to learn with the audience here. I am technically, like, my full name has the second, like the 2I second suffix at the end, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of people see that and they assume I'm named after my dad. I'm actually named after my uncle, my dad's brother, who passed away in 89.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he drowned off the Gulf of Texas. And at the time of his passing, and this is something my dad has told me most of my life, I remember being a small kid, like watching him listen to this and just like be teary-eyed and emotional. This was one of, if not my uncle's favorite song at the time of his passing. And so just that alone, every time I hear this song come on somewhere random, or if it just pops up, in a random like classic rock playlist, it just evokes like a lot of feelings for me. Like I'm, for my namesake, what it means to my dad, what it means for my family at large. And it's just like an emotional song, just a little bit, I feel like just on its own,
Mm-hmm.
Like the topic that it's talking about is, like the world's messed up. It's a messed up place. People out here killing each other for reasons we can't fathom a lot of times. And that's the world we're like giving our children, and we're expecting them to just come in and like rebuild and fix our problems. So yeah, man, this every time I hear this song, It just has, it's like just wrapped in a few layers of emotions for me. Like I have this specific memory being a very small child, like 4 or 5 years old, and my dad just blasting. It was just me and him at home, I think, and he was just like blasting this like throughout the entire house, and just kind of like, I don't remember if he was like actually crying, but he was definitely like in that like crying,
The grieving
just like
state.
releasing, the grieving, releasing emotion type behavior. And like as a young kid, obviously didn't understand like what's going on. Why is my dad crying? Is everything okay? And that was the first time he like sat down and explained like, well, this was your uncle who you're named after's favorite song. And every time I hear it, it makes me think of him and just how much I miss him and how much I loved him and all that stuff. So yeah, this was because I had heard it at work a few times within the not so recent time. It had just kind of been on my mind. Like every time like I said, I hear this song, just all those thoughts and feelings, it's kind of like come crashing down on me. So as I was listening to it at work, it's kind of where I spawned the idea for this topic of like, oh man, there's so many songs that just have a deeper meaning, like a deeper personal meaning to us that anyone else can hear the song, but they won't have that because they haven't had the experience you've had. They haven't, they didn't have the moment where that song was a pivotal role or whatever it is. And yeah, this is just for me, this is like the kind of like epitome of this whole topic.
Wow. That's very touching. And dude, we must be like kindred spirits or something. Um, because to tie into your song, my next song, um, I Want to Be a Baller by Little Troy, is actually a song that's dedicated to my uncle as well. So I was maybe like around 13 when my uncle passed away in a motorcycle accident. And at the time of his passing,
That was one of his favorite songs.
that was one of his favorite songs.
That is serendipity. That we both chose a song about that. With similar backgrounds.
Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, so that was a song that my late uncle Brent. He had his Toyota pickup truck, and I'll never forget. It was like a little small Toyota pickup truck. I think it was like a Tundra or something. And he scratched all the letters off except for the yo in the middle.
Yo, that's great, dude.
Yeah, and here I am, Terry Yo. Which is also serendipitous as well.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot of that.
Yeah,
so far.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it was that was one of his songs, and he was very young. He was like maybe like 23 at the time when he passed.
Much too young.
Yeah, way too young, and my mom's baby brother. So it's a lot of baggage on that because that was like, I mean, of course I had death in the family prior to that, but like that was like one of the major ones that kind of like really, really hurt. Because like the ones that passed prior to that, they were elderly, so it was kind of to be expected. But with my uncle Brent, we actually hung out the week before, just me and him. And out of all my uncles, I will say he was one of the ones that actually kind of really took me under his wing. He always said something to me. He said something to me that stuck with me. He was like, you're young, you're very smart up here, pointing at my head. But then he was like, but I want you to get smarter here, pointing at my hand. So me and him were supposed to work on his motorcycle that weekend, the following week. And we hung out and went riding around with him. I never got on a motorcycle. I was not about that life. But he sadly died that weekend.
Man.
Yeah, so that kind of really took me, really hurt me hard with that one because I was looking forward to that. Because during my summers in Alabama, that was my little retreat, my little getaway. But then I was like, oh man, I get to kick it with my uncle. We get to work on his, do some mechanic stuff or whatever else, and never got a chance to do that. So, but yeah. So that's where that song, Little Troy, "Want to Be a Baller," shot caller.
I will say that was. I will say up top, I liked. Once again, we knocked it out of the park with the playlist. All these songs were great. Like you and me were kind of texting earlier in the week about how we were just like singing along to all of them and stuff. This one was. I might change my mind on this, but I feel like this one was my favorite throughout the week. This was definitely the one where I was like, just like really getting into, especially like the chorus. wanna be a
Mhm.
baller. Like, just it's so good. I'd never heard the song before.
Oh, oh yeah, this song came out around 99. So I think it was
99.
like 98, 99. My uncle passed in 99 when that happened. So it's been a while. I mean, I still think about him, time heals, all the emotions or whatever. But, every now and then, especially this week, listening to, the different songs on the playlist, when this song came on, I'm just like, oh, okay, here comes that memory. But, again, it's good memories. I mean, I still have fond memories of him. I mean, like I said, I was early teens, preteens when that happened. But, you know, our family, we're still laughing and joking. And if he was still here, and if my other uncle was still here as well, Uncle Tracy, if he was still here, we'll still be laughing and cutting up even harder than we already do. So,
I read something just within the past week or two that is, I think, pretty important. Time does heal all wounds, but it leaves behind scars when it does so.
facts.
And those don't ever really go away. Carry those pretty much the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Much like, like what we're talking about.
Yep. Absolutely. So, like I was I was texting you earlier this week. I didn't want to make this a super, super heavy episode, but I'm glad we both, again, I had no idea that White Lion song was attributed to your uncle and the backstory behind that. So I'm learning along with everybody else. Um, I don't know what the rest of your songs are dedicated to,
That is,
but I know
I think
for
that's my
me,
most emotional.
yeah, yeah.
That's my
So
heaviest, at least, I'll say. Yeah.
exactly, yeah. So mine, that's the heaviest for me. So I don't want people to be like, "Oh God, we're going to be in for a tearjerker episode." This isn't like us playing Adele, Somebody Like You. Like it's not going to be one of
No,
those kind of moments.
no, it's not. It's not. There's some happier memories for me on this playlist. Before
Absolutely.
before I move on to my next pick, though, I do just because anytime my uncle and his passing comes up, I always feel it's remiss to not mention. So because he drowned due to a riptide current, I
Mm.
always make sure, just a quick PSA for anyone who's going to be I know the summer's like over at this point pretty much, but if anyone's going to be like at the beach anytime in the future, and if you're out in the water and you notice the water current is just like literally like pulling you away from the shore faster than you can swim to it, don't keep tiring yourself out trying to swim back to the shore. Swim parallel to the shore. Swim left or right until you stop feeling that pull, and then you can swim back to the shore. Because so many people drown because they try and fight that current. Even like Olympic level swimmers, you can't fight a rip current. It's just a force of nature. You can't beat nature. So yeah, hopefully that will help save a life if you're ever out in the ocean water and get caught by a riptide. Swim left or right.
Okay. And before you move on, I should follow suit as well. Drivers, be mindful of
Yes.
motorcyclists. Give them extra room. Is your vehicle versus them. Also, in the same breath, if you're riding a motorcycle, don't be stupid. Don't be that person driving in between cars, trying to get to the red light before everybody else. We're all on the same road together. Just be cautious, be cognizant of that
And
because
yeah,
again,
I beseech everybody, just drive defensively.
yes,
Drive with the notion of like everyone around me is a crazy madman and I need to be the responsible driver here to make sure no one gets hurt. If everyone on the road drove like that, there would be far, far, far fewer accidents.
agreed. However, asterisk, don't be that slow ass person driving
No, no,
35
no.
miles under the speed limit because you will get
We,
ran the hell over.
you will.
But be careful at
Yeah.
the end of the day.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll move right on to my next pick here. Mad Sounds by Arctic Monkeys
Okay.
off of their 2013 album AM.
Okay.
First of all, let me just say, as a whole album, are you familiar with Arctic Monkeys with this album at all?
What? Not this album in particular, but I am vaguely familiar with Arctic Monkeys. I have listened to some of that music. Oddly enough, this is how my ignorance is. I get Arctic Monkey. God damn, why can I not speak today? I tend to get Arctic Monkeys and Imagine Dragons mixed up in my head for some reason.
Really?
I don't
They
know
sound
why.
nothing alike in
They
my
sound
head.
nothing alike. But like
Very different sounds.
I would think of the name. I'm like, oh yeah, what's that one band? And I was like, oh yeah, Imagine Dragons. No, that's not them. That's Arctic Monkeys. So I just completely just the naming. I just get those two mixed up in my head somehow.
Well, okay. I don't know how to fix that for you, but maybe you just need to listen to more Arctic Monkeys. Because I will say this album, like I know we've talked about before, just our appreciation and love of albums that are like whole packaged products of art instead of a bunch of singles slapped together.
Mm-hmm.
AM is one of those albums I can just sit down, press play, listen from track 1 to track 13 or 14. I forget how many songs total are on there, and just listen to literally every single one and love every single song on the entire album. Like I put it, for me personally, on my own personal list, it's like top 5 albums like all time.
Okay.
That being said, why I picked this song in particular, Mad Sounds, because it is not like by any means my favorite song off that album, but it played a somewhat, I guess, pivotal role in my younger youthful days. Essentially, this is a breakup song for me. Let's go ahead and come out the gate with that. So
Yeah.
I dated like my high school sweetheart into the freshman year of college. We made it all the way through the freshman year of college, and it was like right at the beginning of that summer that we broke up. And so like the night where we broke up, I was at her house, and like as I'm driving away, I just like hit, mass play all on, and this was like the first song that came on, and just as I'm driving down the road, I was battling like, should I turn around? Did I just make a huge mistake? Am I doing the right thing? All those questions you have whenever you are in like a long relationship and you're choosing to end it or whatever. And then this song comes on, and it's just like the kind of refrain throughout of like mad sounds in your ear, kind of like really like hit. I know that's not necessarily like the situation in the song. I feel like it's different than what I was going through in that moment, but just it spoke to me on a specific level in that moment. And it also is, the whole album is like I'm not sure if it's a breakup song or just like a longing distance or album rather. I'm not sure if it's like a longing distance. It's definitely, most of the album is about like relationships and the different aspects of falling in and out of them. So there are definitely some parts that of this song in particular that apply to like breaking up. But yeah, I think just more so than anything, just hearing like the mad sounds in your ear, and I like related that in the moment to like, the mad sounds are telling me to go, even though, because like I knew in that moment, like, no, the relationship has been unofficially done for a while, like we both have kind of checked out. We weren't being great to each other in that point in time. And it's just like, we were on again, off again every other week. It's just like not working out. And so like I knew like the thought of like going back and like begging for forgiveness and saying it was a mistake was just like mad sounds in my ear telling me, telling me wrong.
Yeah.
And because of this song, I'm pretty sure I didn't turn around. I kept going.
Okay.
And so now every time I hear this song, it like teleports me back to that moment and that decision.
Wow. Okay, I definitely didn't get that vibe for sure. But yeah, like that's I enjoy that song, especially like the little part at the end, the ooh la la
La
la
la,
ooh
ooh
la
la
la.
la la ooh. It's just it's a great song by
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah.
It really is.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like
I
it's
dug that
really a
one.
testament that the fact that like in my head the song is related to like one of the biggest breakups of my life, and it doesn't like immediately depress me or put me in like a weird mood whenever like I'm still just like, it makes me think of it, but it's also been a decade on essentially from that point. But still, it's just that anytime it comes on, I'm singing along, I'm smiling.
Yeah.
Even if those moments and that connection still pops up in my head, I think the song is just so great that I can't help but sing along.
Yeah. Absolutely. Speaking of songs singing along to, 12 gauge, donkey butt.
Okay, so whenever I told you I was singing along to all the songs, I was singing along to this one despite myself.
I knew it. I knew when you
Let me
said
ride
that.
that donkey, donkey. Let me ride that donkey, donkey. But
Look at them donkey butt, them big old legs. They ain't too hard to bear. Ain't no shame in the game. Don't break it down, break it like James, please.
please, please. I like how in the middle of the song he like says please, and like as part of like one of the and it like busts out the it's like in the middle. Yeah, it's a fun kind of silly song. I'm interested. This whole week I've been super interested in like what is the meaning for you with this?
What's the connection with this song? Okay, so let me pull up my notes on this song real quick. All right, so Donkey Buck by 12 Gauge came out in 1994, and he is in fact a Georgia rapper, a Georgia DJ that became a rapper, but his style was he chose to do the Florida based music. So for me, I grew up in South Georgia, Savannah area, down that way. around that time as a kid, elementary kid or whatever, that's when the Tootsie Roll came out, the Butterfly, all the Florida based dance music was out. And this song came out. And again, parsing the lyrics down, I ain't know what the hell I was listening to or dancing to. All I heard was, look at them donkey butt and them big old legs. So I was just a kid, just having my best time, my best life. And it transported me back to that era of when music was just fun, silly. We would just
So
go to the dances and like, anytime there was like a family function or a barbecue or the radio, like they played, like the radio in South Georgia is so different than the radio here in Atlanta. Whereas like they played more variety down there than they do up here, honestly. So you could call the local DJ down there, and they'll pick up the phone and be like, "Hey, what's your request? Like, hey, can you play that Dunkie Butt song? All right, man, we got you." And about 30 minutes later, the song will come on the radio. So it just takes me back to that time.
So there is an actual dance, because to me it felt like this was kind of like you said. I don't know. I feel like might be way off base, but it felt like it was almost like poking fun at like the like rap songs that had like dances. Because I will say that was just like a little bit like whenever that was like. Like this, you said this is 94, right? Like around this time, that was like whenever I was born, essentially.
Yeah.
So that was like just right before my time.
Yeah,
I miss that era of like every song having its own dance and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Having his own little dance and having his own little vibe. And like I said, this is around the time where Florida-based music was taking off. So you got like the Lukes and the 69 Boys and 95 South and all of them. So everything was like super bass heavy, party driven music. And growing up, just when I hear that song, that's one of the deep cuts from that era. Because they still play the Tootsie Roll stuff, to this day, but you really don't hear Dunkie Butt like
I've never heard it before this playlist. So, though I did ask a couple coworkers that are a little bit older than me, and I had to I had to sing the chorus for them. Let me ride that donkey, donkey. For them to be like, oh, that song. Yeah, I remember that song.
Yeah.
Which those reactions alone just made me laugh. But
yeah, it was just so fun and silly. Like I said, it just really it brings you back to my childhood. It just makes you think about all those days, growing up down there and just being a kid, living my best life and just having a good old time, just enjoying
that nostalgia
music.
Hit.
It's a super nostalgia hit. It just transports me back to like my old apartment complex and playing with the kids in the neighborhood on the playground, and somebody would bring out a radio and just like we had. Sorry, a radio is a device that had antennas on it.
I know you're not explaining that to me, right? You're explaining for the audience.
No. To the audience, not to
okay.
Me. But like, and you can transfer, and it wasn't connected to the Wi-Fi. It was connected to the the radio waves. So somebody would bring out a boombox and they'll play the radio, and those are the kind of songs that would come on the radio around that time. So, I had some nostalgia hits for sure, and then I was like, what was that one song, that Dunkie Butt song? And I thought it was by another artist or whatever. And I just randomly typed in Dunkie Butt just to see what came up. And I finally found the song. I was like, that's that song. I've been looking for this song for years. So I finally found it this week. Because like just the chorus alone is like, that's part that gets me. And
it's so catchy. It's way catchier than it has any right to be.
Absolutely.
In my opinion.
Yeah. And
it's so silly, man. It's such a silly song.
It's so silly, and then like for them to like flip the James Brown sample.
I will say I am proud of myself that I pretty much immediately knew he meant James Brown.
Yes.
Whenever he's like, he talks about, because he just says James in the song.
Yep.
The first, like whenever he says it in the intro, I was like, who the hell is James? And then like by the time the song was done, I was like, oh, James Brown, duh. That's why I pat myself on the back, because I don't always catch those. Well, I guess I will say my final 3 picks are all kind of in that same vein of like nostalgia hits for me, just for like different reasons. So I'll just go ahead and I'll start with my third pick, Free Fallin' by Tom Petty. A little bit before my time, but it's one of those classic songs you still hear all over the place. Came out in 1989 off the album Full Moon Fever. And for me, where this transports me back to was whenever I was in high school and I had just got my license, just got a car. Mm-hmm. And like I'm sure a lot of people, whenever they first turn 16 and get their license and have the freedom to just hop in and drive wherever they want. They don't have to like ask their mom or have their friends pick them up or anything like that. I would just ride around, just sometimes for, a couple hours a day on the week, just ride through the parks, ride through town, blasting music usually. And this is one of those songs that, like, again, it's one of those songs it's kind of ubiquitous. You hear it all over the place. You hear it in stores, you hear it on the radio. And it's one of those classic songs. For some reason, though, I still to this day, love belting this song out at like the top of my lungs, just like hoarse after just like one sing through of it, right? And the first time I like really did that was whenever I was like first driving around just by myself, middle of the summer, windows down, just 55 down the highway, and I'm free. Just like trying to like kill the song and my voice. Like I remember, girlfriend at the time, her like us both like duetting it together, blasting it with friends in the car. It's just, I don't know, just anytime I hear this song, it immediately, kind of like you were saying, it just immediately transports me back to that era of my life. Of just that freedom, the lack of responsibility, just the youthful naivety of just being like, the world is a great place and I'm going to be the best thing ever. And then, I don't have all the real world, like depressing facts drilled into my head yet.
Extra responsibilities.
No responsibilities, just go to school, get good grades. Don't crash the car I'm cruising down the street in. And that was it, And nice. Yeah, man, it's in addition to just being a great song, just like I said, just every time I hear it, it just immediately, I'm like right back in that old Lincoln, whatever kind of Lincoln car. My first car was this old Lincoln, like town car type.
Oh wow! So you got a boat then?
It was a boat, man. V8, terrible gas mileage.
Oh yeah.
I'd get like $10 to $15 at a time, and that'd last me like a day and a half.
Jeez.
And then got like 15 miles at the gallon. But I loved it, especially with the free Fallin blasting.
Oh yeah, I bet. Yeah, so that song is always a classic, and that again, definitely before my time, but even after my time, really, it was like one of those songs that it kind of happened upon me. Working in retails, those songs I kept playing over and over and over again. Or if I decided to go out with friends and we go to a bar, no matter how hard I try to forget, I'm still in Georgia, so we're gonna have those kind of those kind of bars that you'll go to. And Free Fallin', somebody will put that on there. That being said, I belted it out many a times, but because I have a sophomoric brain, I have to change the lyrics to Free Ballin', right?
It's a great song. If you're going to change it up that way, it's a great song to play like just as you step out of the shower. You just do like the towel crack, Yep.
I'm free ballin'. I'll just make myself laugh.
Well, now I'll probably have that in addition to my nostalgia. Every time it comes, I'll be at CVS and just be like, damn it, Terrio, free balling over here.
You're welcome. That's the least I can do.
Thank you.
Word of pro tip: when you're forced to listen to a song many a times in a row, like at work or willingly, sometimes the change of the lyrics kind of just gives it a little extra life. Maybe it makes things a little bit more tolerable.
Yeah, makes it not terrible to listen to for the 1,700,000th blah 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 time.
Exactly. So
before we jump to the next one, though, since I think we're halfway through right here, do you want to take a quick break?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
All right.
I gotta pee.
I know.
I was waiting for us to get at least through 5 of them.
All right, go ahead.
Be right back.
All right.
Hey guys, we're coming to you today with a request. If you've been liking the show so far, it would help immensely if you could rate us and leave a review. This helps us get highlighted on different platforms and allows new listeners to find us.
This also helps us know what content you guys enjoy and what you want to see more of. High ratings and reviews, of course, help us grow the podcast and connect other people to the joys of listening to music. Now, you can have a hand in growing this community simply by letting us know your thoughts.
And thank you sincerely for all the support that we've already received.
Yep, what he said. No, I'm just playing. But seriously though, thank you for supporting us no matter how you do it. And again, rating and reviewing will help us on whatever platform you're on or whatever platform you listen to podcasts on. Just, leave us a review and, share us with your friends and family. And also, more importantly, keep on listening. You good now?
Yes.
Much
better.
All right. And we are back from break.
We're back.
All right. So the next song I'm gonna bring up is a very interesting one. How I stumbled across the song, but it has become a song that is super near and dear to my heart, and I listen to this song more often than I care to admit. But it's very good, and I love the meaning behind it. And the song I'm referring to is the beloved "Dream On" from the album Conscious.
I do really, really like this song, man. It's very soundscapey esque in a way. Like it's kind
Yeah.
of ethereal. Sorry,
Yeah,
ethereal.
Shout out to Sharita.
Don't kill me, Sharita. But yeah, man, it's just the quality of this song is. This was another one of my favorites out of your
yeah,
picks.
yeah. So the beloved. So I used to work. I took like a little seasonal part time job to get some extra cash. And at the time, I was working at Macy's, and they had another song by the beloved called "Sweet Harmony" playing. And I was like, okay, I kind of like this song. It's electronic. Everybody knows by now I love electronic music. So I was like, okay, it's kind of cool. Let me Shazam this or SoundHound it or whatever I used back then. So I found the album Conscience, and I listened to the whole album. And as I'm listening to the album, there's a couple songs I'm like, okay, not really my thing, and a couple songs that really stuck. And this is one of the songs that definitely stuck with me. "Dream On" by the Beloved. The song originally came out in 1993,
Oh,
but I didn't discover it until like much later, till like 2014 ish or whatever. So it's an older song, and you'll see a theme here that I'm noticing about myself. Um, this is another husband and wife duo for the UK.
you have a weird like addiction or I don't know, sixth sense or
I guess.
magnetism to these groups, man.
I have no idea how, but John and Helena Marsh from London, this is like their thing. And typical in following the hybrid situation, it was another member that left the band, and then they got together and they released this album Conscious together. And there's not really much information about the Beloved. There now there just to be clear, this is the Beloved from the UK. There is a Beloved from North Carolina in the United States. That's a totally different band, but this is the one from the UK. And with them, they started off as like a post grunge, like kind of sound more rocky, sort of speak. And then they eventually evolved into like they just did a hard pivot and just went straight into the dance electronic scene. And his voice, the way he sung on Dream On, is the same way he sung on the rock songs, with that very soft kind of just whisper tones and that kind of thing. How he was, it just, I don't know, it's just weird juxtaposition. Like I like how the beat is like thumping, but he's just kind of just like very softly speaking with it.
And the mixing on that is pretty great too. I noticed that as well. It is the juxtaposition just like kind of keeps you engaged, but then just
Yeah.
the mixing on that is like I feel like I don't know. I'm not a sound engineer, but I feel like that's a little bit harder to do whenever you have that softer tones like
Yeah.
that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then ultimately it's the lyrics that got to me. So it's one of those songs that I was listening to it and I kept singing the chorus and I was like, what the heck is this guy even talking? Like I couldn't understand the whisper. So I looked up the lyrics and I started singing the lyrics along with him. I was like, this is great. Like this is like a good motivational thing because I love the electronic sound. I love the soundscapiness of it. And the ultimate purpose of the song is don't stop dreaming, dream on, never stop believing. So I use that as my like not mantra per se, but I like to put it on every now and then to remind myself that hey, you're not crazy. Just keep pushing, keep pushing.
Yeah, man, I do
Things.
love that.
Yeah,
And I also just want to say, you said this came out in 92,
93,
93.
93. Yeah,
That surprises me a little bit because this has a very modern sounding electronic sound,
they were
in
very
my
much ahead of
opinion.
their time. Very
Yeah,
much ahead of their
like if
time.
you had told me this came out 2018, I would have been like, yeah, that tracks.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, ahead of their time by like 2 decades.
Exactly. So yeah, I this is one of my favorite joints on that album, and again, it is electronic, and they kind of have some songs that kind of make you, kind of has that little oonce oonce sound. And I actually went back and watched a few music videos to prepare for this episode to try to explain the Beloved. And no, I can't explain it. This guy is weird. Like the song Sweet Harmony is dope. It's nice. It's like it's smooth. It's a smooth kind of song. And then the music video is just John, the lead singer, the lead vocal guy, and I don't know, 50 other naked women, the entire video. He's naked. All the ladies are naked. That's the whole video. And I'm just like, oh,
Did you say
okay.
it's a husband and wife duo?
Yeah. So she kind of came to the play later on, and like now ex-wife now, but
Hmm.
according to the interwebs or whatever. But at the time of this recording, but yeah, so because like she came in and joined the group, and that whole thing happened. But yeah, it's that. And then I thought it was just a one-off thing, and then I saw another video, and again, he's naked, about 50 other naked women in the video for a different song.
Maybe he's
So I'm
just an
like,
exhibitionist.
that's kind of vibe I was getting. And then like there's another song where it's like Outer Space Girl, where they try to be it. Okay, slight tangent, but it is very hilarious to me when you go back and watch like the 70s and 80s. Their portrayal of what the future is supposed to be is like a lot of aluminum foil and like a lot of hard angles for no reason.
Yeah.
And that's what that video was for Outer Space Girl. Just like, let's just put every color that doesn't match. Let's put that together and just have feather wings and aluminum foil and stuff everywhere, like outer space. Ooh, it was like all that kind of stuff. So I was like, okay, this is weird, super trippy. Again, you can enjoy the music normally, but if you were to have some sort of enhancement of your choice,
I was
you may
yeah.
enjoy it better.
I was gonna say definitely just hearing the music, I would imagine it lends itself to to an enhanced experience if you have the tools to do that at your disposal.
And we're gonna leave it at
We're gonna leave it at that
that.
for our own legal safety.
Facts.
All right. Well, I guess we will move right along to my next pick. My next pick is Don't Stop Believing by Journey. And if you don't know this song,
Who are you?
who are you? Did
Where
you
have
grow
you
up in
been?
like a cave with no music for the last 20, 30 years? Like, where have you been?
Yeah.
This is another, just a lot like Tom Petty and even When the Children Cry. This is definitely one of the songs I feel like you hear come on the radio all the time. You hear it in grocery stores and different shopping areas that just have, generic radio playing or whatever.
You hear it in movies, you hear it in
You
TV
hear it in
series.
movies. It's a great song. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I imagine this was definitely one of the ones whenever you said you were also singing along to all the songs. This was probably one of the ones you were like really getting into because it just lends itself to just like going ham.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Steve Perry, I believe, is the singer, if I'm not misremembering his name. He's such a good singer. I almost picked this song for our vocal performance playlist battle episode just because.
Oddly enough, I had another song by Journey, "Wheels in the Sky." I
Oh,
almost put
that
that
is
on
a
there.
good one. That's a
I
good
love
song
that
too.
song.
Just Steve Perry is a phenomenal singer, and this, I mean, there's so many songs that showcase that, but this is definitely one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Why I picked this song was, again, this is, like I said before, this is kind of a nostalgia hit for me, but a very specific nostalgia hit in that this was, so I played football through all of middle school and high school. And somewhere, I don't remember if it started in like middle school or if it wasn't until we got to high school. But anytime as a team, we were on the bus driving to an away game, you would have an entire bus of 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old kids
Oh
as a
man,
group singing this song word for word, verbatim, people trying to hit those high notes.
this is your hype song.
It wasn't even like a hype song. It was just a song that everyone knows and is so fun to sing along. And like, I don't know, you didn't play sports in high school, right? You were.
Unfortunately, I didn't. I
So
should
there's,
have, but I
well,
didn't.
I'll just, to explain to you, there's definitely like on a game day, especially if it's like an away game, you have nerves and you're anxious and you're like you're excited to go play, right?
Mm-hmm.
That like can kind of if you have that over the span of like 8-10 hours of like through the normal school day and then driving to wherever you're playing, because usually games aren't until later in the evening, so you have like an entire day of just like your nerves kind of being like wound up and you're just like looking for that release. This was like kind of like a venting a little bit for me, at least that's how I looked at it, is we was like just kind of take the edge off the nerves a little bit, get out of our heads so we're not just like constantly thinking over every little thing we need to be doing in the game, blah blah blah, and just kind of like get out of our heads for a short moment of time. We would even have it where like different people, it would be like callback or like back and forth almost, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like one guy out of the entire bus might do the "I see her in a smoky room," and then the entire rest of the team would be like "Smell of wine and cheap perfume," like, and we would just do that, and it would just different people would just pipe up and just like take over, and it was just so fun. And literally, like every single song or every single away game, rather, for like 4 years, this song was sung. There was another song, a rap song, that was also sung pretty often, but it didn't quite like I didn't think about it until like after I'd already like listened to "Don't Stop Believin" a few times, so I decided to go with this one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man. So just anytime this song comes on, it just brings a smile to my face, and I picture like my buddy like sitting in the chair next to me and him piping up whenever it's like just the one dude singing and he's trying to hit the high note, and then everyone else just comes in, even though he's none of us were great singers for the most part. So like, yeah, it's just great stupid like kid stuff, fun. I don't know, it puts a smile on my face to think back to those moments.
That's awesome. Yeah. So this is one of those songs that happened on to me later in life, and I was like, "Oh, who is this Journey people? I've never heard of them before." And I did a whole little greatest hits playlist thing, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm kind of digging them." So this is one of those songs definitely that I recognize in all kinds of different formats. And when I hear this song, I always think about The Sopranos. That's what I think about. Are you familiar with the show at all?
I'm familiar, but I have not watched a single
Okay,
episode.
I didn't watch it at all. I just know that. Okay, spoiler alert for like I don't know how many decades old that show is, but
It's coming up on 2.
okay. So if you don't know what happened at the end or whatever, so I never watched the show, but I know people hated the ending.
I'm aware of
So
that as well. Yeah.
yeah, but this was the song that was playing. So it was
Mm.
like, "Don't stop believing,
Hold on to the feeling.
don't stop." Cut. Right to black at that point.
Oh
So
man.
I was like, mm. So the whole time I'm listening to this on the playlist, I keep thinking it's gonna stop, but then it just keeps on fading. So fading. I was thinking in my head that the song ended at "Don't stop," but no, it kept on fading. But yeah, so that's a little memory I have attached to that one.
That's pretty
So yeah,
fun.
yeah,
Not for people who are fans of the show, but for you or me right now, that's pretty fun.
yeah, that's pretty dope.
I will just want to say real quick, I feel like this song, because we kind of at work recently switched the radio to just like 80s hits.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, for the last, week to 2 weeks, I've been listening to the playlists pretty regularly. So I'm hearing this song like every day, or at least every other day, multiple times usually. And then I go to work, and then this song comes on like 3 or 4 times in the day. And like after like the third or fourth day of us playing the 80s playlist or whatever, I was like, man, is this song like, I love this song, but I'm starting to feel like it's haunting me a little bit. I'm hearing it everywhere.
That is so true. That is so true. And like I'm like, why
And
am
you're
I
like, wait a
like
minute, am I singing along to this right now?
dude, like that happened to me so many times. I'm like, why do I know this song? And then I'm like knowing it word for word. And I'm like, why am I downloading this? Like, why did I buy this CD? Why is this playing on my car right now?
Exactly.
It just follows me everywhere I go. So, okay, well, the next song is the song that I told you that when you hear it, you're gonna automatically know what the meaning of the song is about and the meaning, the memory I have attached to it, and that's Lady Wray, Lady the Band, Sweet Lady.
I did love this song too, man. This song
It's
is
it's so sweet.
it's such a sweet, beautiful song, dude.
Yeah, I love it. So this is okay. So quick backstory: back in the late 1900s, the late 1998 to be specifically, Missy Elliott had an artist called Nicole Wray, and she had a song that was very popular called "Make It Hot." I got what you want, I got what you need. that song or whatever. So she basically became like, she dropped one album, she's trying to have another second album, but it never really came out. And around this time, I was like, I wonder whatever happened to Nicole Wray. And I went down a little rabbit hole, and I was like, Nicole Wray is Lady, huh? So then I end up listening to this band called Lady, and at the time it was Nicole Wray and another lady named Terry Walker. So it was a duo for their first album. So it's her and Terry Walker singing this song, "Sweet Lady." Um, so I'm like, okay, I like this song. And then she eventually, Terry Walker ended up leaving Lady the band, and then Nicole Wray changed her name to Lady Wray, and now she's still performing music. And she left the contemporary sound and just started doing 60s and 70s era inspired music um, going forward. And she actually released an album this year or late last year called Piece of Me, and it's so phenomenal. So phenomenal. Such a good album. So for those who like the traditional R&B sound, like with live instrumentation, give Lady Ray a listen. But
I'm gonna have to check more of her stuff out, or
oh yeah,
more of their stuff rather.
yeah. Well, it's just her now. So, but as far as this particular album, Lady, this I listened to that album and then came across this song called the song "Sweet Lady," and I automatically thought about my mom.
I mean, how can you not?
Right, absolutely. So, and it just like kicks you right in the feels. And the specific memory I have attached to it is a while back we did a surprise birthday party for my grandma, and who never really had one. And unfortunately, I couldn't get off work to go down there to actually be at the event, but I got commissioned to put together a CD for her. And this is the song, one of the songs that immediately was like the first song I put on the list. And once I sent the CDs out and I mailed it out there to my family, whatever, and everybody loved the song. And even my mom, like, she still loves the song to this day. So being a child of divorce and seeing everything that my mom went through as a single mom, um, uh, stuff that at the wonderful age of somewhere in my 30s, I'm just now starting to comprehend the stress and stuff that she was going through. But as a kid, I never knew, because she protected me and made sure I had, made sure I was a kid for the most part. So,
Man,
you
our
know,
mom's just great.
yeah, yeah. The good moms are good.
The
I'll
good
put it
moms
that
are
way.
good, yeah.
The good moms are good, and the ones that do a lot, to keep food on the table, to make sure that you're taken care of, fed, clothed, and shelter you from all the bullshit of the world. It means a lot. Because, like I said, child of divorce, it was just me and her, and she was working, I believe, 2 jobs and going to school, and had no car, and was walking back and forth for everything. And then if I had some kind of after school program, we found some way to get there. So
If that's not inspirational, like, what is,
exactly. So if your mom, grandma, or auntie or whoever is still here, let them play this song for them. It'll mean a lot to them. So that's where that came from.
That is, just like I said, man, that's such a sweet song.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. I said I might, like, at the top of this episode. I said it might change on what my favorite. You had all your picks are so good. So I don't. I'm gonna rescind my previous statement of what my favorite is. They're all my favorites. Just it really depends on like the mood, man. Because like, man, yeah, like you said, just you hear this song and just immediately. I was blessed to not be a child of divorce, but my mom did work and go to school and still made sure that, I made it to all my football games. I made it to all my sporting events. I made it to all any after school curricular stuff. I had all the supplies I needed. I had the clothes I needed. Like just seeing that and just like you hear this song and you just immediately, for me at least, brings you back to all those moments. And it's just,
Mm-hmm.
I
Yep.
don't know. I feel like it's impossible to hear the song and not get some kind of feels, right?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And again,
And the
you
singing, the
know,
song itself is just like really, really good.
oh,
Like
the
even outside
vocals
of it,
are bomb. Are you kidding
man, they
me?
are
Like,
balling.
balling, singing that. Them ladies sung their asses off with that song.
Yeah.
So we take our hats out to all the mothers out there because they are all such sweet ladies.
Yes. Love you, mama.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I guess we will move on to my last pick. That is Tame Impala's Feels Like We Only Go Backwards off of their 2012 album Lonerism.
So, before you jump into it, when you said Mad Sounds was your breakup song, I was thinking the Tame Impala was your breakup song.
Really?
Because it seemed
It
like,
does.
again,
Okay, this does have kind of
lyrically,
some kind of lyrically has those connotations. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, because like I like Kevin Parker and I love what he does with Tame Impala and all of that. This is definitely one of the songs where the mixing, I was like, dude, like you got to turn the vocals up a little bit. Like it was kind of hard to hear with all the synth stuff going on. So I had to look at the lyrics of that one too, and I definitely heard that feels like we're going backwards. But then it was like, we feel like I'm going backwards, baby. And I was just like, oh, so this is a relationship thing. So when you said Mad Sounds was your breakup song, this is a song that I was like, okay, I bet you this is a breakup song for him. So I don't know what it is. I could be totally wrong. I could be totally right. I don't know. It could be something completely different. But this is the I was shocked that Mad Sounds was the
Nope.
breakup one.
Yep. Mad Sounds is the only breakup song for my selections.
Okay.
This is similar to Free Fallin'. This is a song that kind of like just teleports me back in time to a specific like era of my
Mm-hmm.
life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a little cheesy, so don't hate me too much. But it's the era that it's not just because of this, but it is the era where you and me became friends.
Mm-hmm.
It was like my first 2 to 3 years of college. That was like right around the time, like I think it was like going into my sophomore year of college. I kind of discovered Tame because I had a buddy who was like super big on him, and I'd heard him like listen to Tame Impala like here and there sporadically, but I had never really like sat down and listened to him. And then it was right around the time I had like my first apartment by myself, and I discovered them. And this was at the time. I'll admit the mixing is not great. A lot of his mixing on his like first couple albums
Mm-hmm.
are a little subpar, but
Yeah.
it's such a what's the word? Such there's so many different sound. Like even back then, I knew that this was like something special, especially after learning that this was just. If you didn't know, this is one dude, Kevin Parker, records all of these sounds,
Everything.
does everything himself. Whenever he goes and
Mm-hmm.
tours live, he has another band that plays the different parts. But whenever he's recording for an album, every single instrument, every single sound is one dude alone.
Mm-hmm.
So much skill to go into that. It kind of blows my mind. Just especially again, like I said, with just all the different sounds laid on top. I do remember having a discussion with you whenever we were way back in the day when we were working together, and I was like, oh man, I'm really big on this band right now. And I don't remember if it was this song or because there's several songs that I like really love from this era of Tame Impala. But I know I sent one to you. You never heard of them before that, and then you like went down kind of a Tame Impala rabbit hole from what I remember. And you came
Mm-hmm.
back like the next day, and you're like, yeah. So I listened to like both albums that he has out, and they are great. And like
Yeah.
I know at that point in time, I'm pretty sure we were already like very friendly with each other. We were like already there was a budding friendship growing. But I think for me, in my memory at least, that was like kind of the key turning point of like, oh man, no, this guy musically at least he gets it.
Oh yeah.
We're on the same wavelength. And I think like you kind of that was like around the same conversation where like we swapped like alt J and you were like hot chip, and we just like it just spawned us like bouncing back and forth like, oh, have you heard of this song or this group? And like anytime I hear this song, or really it's not just this song, it's any of those like kind of one of the more popular songs from his like first two albums, kind of takes me back to both that moment and just like sitting around and like I said, like my first two apartments really. And one thing we would do is we would have like our PlayStation or whatever console we had at the time plugged up to our TV, and we would
Mm-hmm.
just we pull up YouTube on the console, but with our phones you could connect through like the Wi-Fi through your phone, and you could just like make a playlist on the spot and just add songs. And we would do that, and it'd be was throughout the night. Like once the playlist would get near like the last couple songs, someone would hop on their phone and add a few more. And
Mm-hmm.
Tame Impala was like always almost in those rotations, and so there's just a lot of those songs. But this one in particular, I feel like just kind of teleports me back to like just sitting around an apartment with no furniture but a little entertainment stand in the TV playing this, and that's like all we had, and we're just like making do. And just that like young, like I'm an adult, I'm starting to figure out life and like what all responsibilities being an adult has, but it's still just like you're like right, you're right there. The young adult is like a line, right? Where you're like you still like got some
Dude.
toes in, like you're not fully, especially since I was still in college. My parents helping me out with my living situation and stuff like that. It wasn't like I was
Yeah.
fully like my own adult paying for everything, like having like all of life's responsibilities, but I was getting like my first taste of it, and all of the anxiety and excitement and just I don't know, it kind of blows up your head a little bit. I feel like in that moment we were like, I'm an adult, I can do what I want. And this
Dude.
song takes me back to that. That
Dude.
combined with just it also makes me think, like I said, of our budding friendship and how we got to here where we are today.
Yeah, that's awesome. Wow. Okay. That's oh.
Like I said, it's a little cheesy, so don't hate me for it, man.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I mean, that's the whole point of the different memories and stuff. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. Wow, I'm actually somewhat speechless on an audio podcast, which is weird for me. But I will say that, yeah, you definitely got me into Tame Impala, and then also simultaneously another friend got me into Tame Impala as well. And because I remember, because like you got me into them, and then I was telling my friend, I was like, dude, have you ever heard of this band called Tame Impala? And then his response was, "Talking about the one I told you to listen to." I was like, "Oh yeah, that one." So I recommended something that that he recommended me because I had forgot. So because I had got them mixed up in my head, I was like, "Oh well, shit, yeah, they're great." So
I finally listened to him. When you
yeah, I
believe?
finally listened to them. Yeah. So yeah, I like this song too. Feels like we only go backwards is a dope song.
They also, I had the pure pleasure of getting to see him live
What?
at the end of maybe it was like the sometime in like the end of 2021 or 2022, beginning of 2022. I feel like I don't quite remember. It was like over a year ago. I know that. And man, does he put on a great show. I was gonna say, if you ever get
I'm
a chance to go
so
see Tame
jealous.
Impala, the light show he puts on is like pretty great.
I am so jealous of that.
You
That's
should
dope.
be. It's pretty awesome. Everyone should be until you go and see it yourself. You should feel
Awesome.
jealous to the point where you want to go see him. Everyone should go see him.
Facts.
Yes. Okay. So I'm interested because this one you had some context added, right? I was wondering if you were going
Yes.
to save this one for last, or if you were going to throw this in the middle.
I wanted to say this for last because there's a lot that goes with this one. So, okay. So my last pick is the Art of Noise, Moments in Love.
Okay. See, I wasn't sure which which one of these was going to be the song.
Okay. So the song, the original song is by Art of Noise, and the song is called Moments in Love. And
it came out. I had to look this up because
you looked it up before me,
oh,
huh?
I looked up when it came out, and this song came
Yes.
out in like 80, 86, 87,
85.
85.
Yes.
Which surprised, much like Dream On, this song does not necessarily have like it could. If you had told me like if I just listened to it once, you're like, oh yeah, that song came out last year, I'd be like, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Exactly. So this is another band that was ahead of its time in the '80s, looking forward with the futuristic sound and the advancement in keyboards and computers and such. So they definitely pushed the envelope of what is basically like with the Art of Noise. They're very highbrow when it comes to art. So when they were out, they challenged what is considered traditional or not traditional. So a lot of their music, it doesn't follow the traditional format of, chorus, verse, bridge, breakdown. It didn't follow that at all. And then a lot of their songs didn't have lyrics. They just had like a riff. And they just kind of just ran with that, and that riff became part of the song or whatever. Or they'll get somebody to guest on it, but they won't use all the vocal. They'll use like part of it and then like just manipulate it, and that will be that. So and they were kind of gimmicky around the time because this song was off of the album Who's Afraid of the Art of Noise, and it was all about like who's the Art of Noise, do you know them, they're like trying to be hip and like mysterious, like who's behind the curtain kind of deal or
Right, build up
whatever.
that mystique.
Yeah, build up that mystique. Again, following the theme. Again, I'm learning something about myself. This is another band from the UK. So apparently I was born in the wrong country.
Apparently.
Because I mean, just sonically, like my brain is like across the pond somewhere. So they're from the UK, and the Art of Noise consisted of two members, Ann Dudley and then JJ. I'm going to mispronounce the last name. I'm going to say Jesselik, JJ Jesselik. So those are the founder members of Art of Noise. To my understanding, they're just platonic. They never got married, as far as I know. So that kind of breaks that trajectory with all the other bands that I like. But ultimately, I I would hear this song listening to the radio. Like okay, let me rewind back. Back in the late 1900s, when the radio was a big deal, um, late night they would always have like a little program called The Quiet Storm, where they play like the slower music or the more sensual songs, if you would. And Art of Noise would be one of the songs that they'll play. They'll play the radio version. They won't play the
I was
whole
about to
10 minutes
say,
version
there's
of
no
it.
way they played a whole 10-minute
No,
song
no.
back on the
It was
radio in the day. There's no way.
no.
How long is the radio version?
It's
How
like
much?
4 minutes. It's like
Oh,
4 minutes. Yeah, 4 minutes.
Normal average song length.
Exactly. So, and there is a music video for this song. I'm not gonna make you watch it. I watched it and I was like, "What the hell am I watching right now?" It's basically it's like the theme of the music video is the tortoise and the hare. However, there's a guy in a turtle shell suit, not like not a suit, but like actual dress suit. But the pattern is like
Turtle
tortoise
shell.
shell, and then the lady was kind of like in more white, whatever. But they were figure skating, and all of this was happening on an ice stage, where the judges were also sitting in the middle of the rink, weird, aristocratic, extra makeup and poofy white hair, and they were judging the figure skaters while the Art of Noise was playing live on their keyboards, "Moments of Love." And I sat there and watched that whole video, and I was just like, okay, this is not the video I thought was gonna match the song. But in an interview I watched with them, they actually said she actually detested having music videos because she said she wanted you to have the imagination, so she didn't want it necessarily like she don't believe in a literal translation of a music video because you just listen to the music and then interpret it yourself. But they also have to do music videos because in the 80s, that's when MTV and all that stuff was coming up, so they had to do it. So it was again highbrow, whatever. So this is just
super
me.
abstract stuff. Essentially,
Yeah,
sounds like we gotta have a music video. We're gonna make it make no sense.
exactly. Just because we can. So this is the backstory of who Art of Noise is and all that stuff. The reason why it's so important to me is because that pattern I've heard that I've heard that literally my entire life, and then I'm just like, huh. And then I would hear it in other songs and other people's songs, and that's how I learned about. Oh, they can use that same pattern. Huh, interesting. So this song, it was kind of like the subliminal catalyst that got me into producing music, and that's what kind of really opened
Because you
my
heard
mind.
people sampling it.
I heard people sampling it. And I kept hearing that melody, and it always an earwormy thing. And then when I first got my very first keyboard, that was one of the first patterns, one of the first chords I tried to replicate by pressing the keys. Dun, 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 dun. And I would like try to play by ear and try to figure that out because I was like, I got to learn how to play this because it all was just stuck in my head. So at the time, I didn't know it was Art of Noise, but then as I started learning more, researching and talking to adults about it, they were just like, oh yeah, it's called Art of Noise, Moments in Love. And I was like, really? So, and I finally heard the original song. Somebody gave me like a CD or whatever with it on it at the time, and I listened to it. And I was just like, oh, so I would listen to all 10 minutes of it because I would study the subtle changes in each like like 16 measures or so, whatever. It wasn't like exactly that, but I will study the different subtle changes. Like it'll be a part where it's very repetitious. However, there are subtle changes, like the bass line will switch up, the hi-hats will speed up, hi-hats will slow down. They will add in this part, they'll take that part out. Then there's the part where they cut out, like that middle part, they just cut that out entirely in the radio version. And like that doom 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 doom, like that whole part. So they added that into it. So I'm listening to it, I was like, okay, so that was an interesting progression. And then they added that. I don't know why that part was no. Like it was so random.
It's
and
so
like
random and like 8 listens in, like I've already heard the song like 8, 9 times, right? It still would catch me off guard. I'd have it playing, it'd be in the background, all of a sudden it'd be like, no, no. I'd be like jump and look around, like, what the hell is that?
Exactly. And when I heard that part, it definitely, like recently when I heard that part, it definitely reminded me of like how I was when I was producing music. I would just like spin the wheel and just like whatever sound effect it landed on, I was like, okay, I'm gonna make a song using this. So and whenever we bring DJ Candy Boy back on here, we'll talk about it at some point. But yeah, I used to make some crazy stuff. Like I'll just have gunshot go off over here. I had a song with dolphins coming up in it and birds chirping. Whatever it is, whatever made sense sounded that way. So the context I gave you again, I added 3 additional songs that feature that same sample, and so you can see how it just kind of just stays with you,
Yeah.
and how hip hop kind of just co-opted this sound from the UK, their electronic, progressive, abstract sound, and we just fell in love with that. And it was like, oh yeah, we're gonna take this and we're gonna flip it and chop it up and make this beat with it and that beat with it, and then the Tootsie Roll version, which I vaguely remember hearing in 1994, because again, we had like the cassette tapes and they had like the different remixes and stuff like that with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I stumbled across it because originally I was going to do Tootsie Roll instead of Donkey Butt. But I was like, huh. So I was going through the Tootsie Rolls. The Herd original I played out still to this day. Like that one, it was going to be either Tootsie Roll or Bankhead Bounce or Come On Ride the Train, Quad City DJ, somewhere around that area. I wanted to play one of those kind of songs to bring me back to my South Georgia days. And then I came across the Tootsie Roll, and then I was like, Set It Off remix. I said, why does that sound familiar? And the moment I hit play and I heard dun, 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 I was like, yes, that's it. That's it.
So yeah, I was curious listening to the last set of songs here. I noticed pretty immediately that the Moments in Love song was like sampled in other ones. I didn't know if it was like one of the other songs that like used it was like what was important and like what was meaningful to you, and you were just like giving me like this is the sample in these songs. But no, that's really cool, man. That like that the noise of Moments in Love is what led to you kind of like having an ear for production and like getting into all that.
Yeah, it awakened the deconstruction, the producer brain I have, I guess. So,
yeah, which so that's why I am often jealous of, because I feel like maybe not that it's like natural for you, but I feel like I have to put in a little bit more effort to like break down a song's like production and beats and whatnot. Then maybe you kind of like naturally kind of key in more towards that. So I'm always a little bit jealous whenever you ask me like, hey man, did you catch this? And I'm like, no, I didn't. Sorry to make you laugh while you're taking a sip over there.
I know, right? almost had an audio spit take over here. Oh man, that's funny. Yeah, I mean, look, it's just one of those things. Everybody has a gift, and that's just one of mine. I just tend to listen to the music. It's just one of those things. And you're forcing me to listen more to lyrics, so now I'm like catching. Like now I'm enjoying.
We definitely are. I'm sort of just say infecting each other. Maybe that's the right way to put it. I don't know.
Yeah, no.
Influencing each other is probably the nicer way to put it. But
no. Infecting is right. I believe it. I'm infecting you. It's all cool. Speaking of lyrics, so in doing my research for this song, "Moments of Love" has 5 songwriter credits.
What? Why?
5 people got writing credits for that song.
That has to like does that include like composition and stuff?
It has to, because I was like,
there's no way.
I was like, it probably has 5 words to the whole song.
Let me look here. Moments in Love, that's 3. And that's pretty much it. We have those 3 words repeated.
Yeah. Moments in love.
No. See, we need a 5th person to come in and tell us it needs to be moments in love.
Okay, right? So is it moments or moments or it's
right? Like that's ridiculous. 5 people. That had to be for the composition. That's insane. Otherwise, If that's for the actual like song, like lyric writing, then they just like brought their boy in and was like, hey man, do you want credit for this song? You want
Yeah,
your name on
come on.
Wikipedia in 20 years when that's a thing?
Yep, you get a credit. You get a credit. You get a
Yeah.
credit. Yeah, I saw that. I cracked that laugh. I was
It's
like,
like a
this song
group
has
project where one person does all the work, but everyone
pretty
gets their name
much,
put on.
pretty much exactly what it is. And I saw that. I was like, you got to be kidding me. There's 5 words in this whole damn song, and they got 5 people with writing credits. I don't hear nothing about that.
That's
So,
hilarious.
but yeah, these are all the songs that not all of them, but some of the
No, those
songs
are
that have a little significant meaning to us. So hopefully you got a chance to learn a little bit more about us and our music taste and our music origin stories or whatever. And I'm curious to know what other songs are meaningful to you. So
yeah, I
you
would
can do
love to
that.
hear what because it's just one of those things, man, that like music is so like connecting, right? Like it's just one of
Hmm.
those things. It's just like kind of a universal connecting thing between people, but it's also it can be such a personal thing as well. And I love that dichotomy of like it can be a super mega popular song like Don't Stop Believin', and everyone has their own personal experiences and takes with it. And
Hmm.
yeah, just like you were saying, I would love to hear what songs hold special meanings in you guys' hearts and minds, and why.
So you can still follow us on pretty much all the things at After Listen Pod. Feel free to leave a comment on this video on YouTube, share with your friends. Um, check the show notes for other ways you can support the show. And ultimately, like I said, it's a communal thing. So these are songs that have meaning to us. I'm curious if some of the songs that we picked have a different meaning to you, or
Oh
did it
yeah, that would be
actually,
interesting to hear. Yeah.
yeah, or if it like resurfaced like a repressed memory. They're like, oh wow, it's been so many years since I heard Dunkie, but that song made me think about grandma or whatever, whatever. So, but
What kind of weird house?
so
Anyways,
whatever. Anyway, yeah. So just feel free to holler at us.
please do.
And you can always check us out on the website too at afterlistenpod.com.
Yep.
Anyway, keep on listening. We appreciate
Keep
y'all.
on listening. Bye.
Bye.